Hi, my name is Jim Meehan. I'm Director of Solutions Engineering at Kentik. I hope you won't mind if I take a seat for this section because I'm going to be operating the demo here. We're going to cover kind of the ad hoc query capability in the Data Explorer. You've heard lots about how the backend operates and how we're consuming data in this, but I just want to kind of set the stage again that we are accepting individual flow records. We store all of the raw data. Everything that you see here in this UI is built on the fly at query time from that raw data. So we don't do any kind of ingest time aggregation or roll-ups or round-robin style loss of granularity. And that gives us the flexibility from an ad hoc query perspective to look both at broad aggregates like total traffic over time through a router or sets of routers, but also to drill down into any dimension of the data that we're storing. So if I want to see the traffic by destination port number, I can just pick that as a dimension to group the data by. Up above, we've got a time series graph of that. The total traffic, again, here in the solid blue line, an overlay of the total traffic from a week ago, which is the dashed gray line. And if I want that to be some other time ago, I can set that down there. So now,
Can you make it a little bigger?
oh, sorry, it's how's that? And then a separate color band for each of the items in the table below. So these are all desk ports. The nice thing about having all of the data is that I don't run into any dead ends if I need to drill down. So maybe I'm interested in why there's so much port 8888 traffic on this network. I can simply pick that row from the table and say, show me that traffic by source IP. And when I do that, it automatically adds a filter here on the left. So we're looking only at traffic to that one desk port number and now grouping it by source IPs. So I can see who my top talker sources were, or just as easily, I can pick the top talker desks. And I can add more than one dimension here too if I want. So maybe rather than sources or desks individually, I want to see top source desk pairs. So I can stick both of those in there. Now I have one row per source desk pair instead of sources or desks individually. So one of the big kind of top line drivers of value that our customers see is the ability to really reduce the amount of time that it takes to discover and get to the bottom of the 10 or 100 incidents that come up day to day in operating a network, whether that's interface congestion or some type of unknown traffic spike or an outage or a customer who's getting 10 times more traffic today than they were yesterday. In the past, with solutions that aggregated ingest, you've got some pre-canned or pre-aggregated reports that you can look at. But once you get one or two levels deep into that, the data isn't there anymore to get the detail. Time series is not the only kind of visualization we can do from an ad hoc perspective. So down at the bottom here, I've got some other visualizations which include bar charts and pie charts, but also what we call a Sankey flow diagram. And this is a great way to understand the relationships between dimensions when I have multiple dimensions selected. So here, still looking at source desk pairs, I can see I've got one source that sends traffic to 3 different desks, another source that sends traffic to 2 different desks, so on and so forth. This is not limited to 2 dimensions, so if I want to put in the ports and protocols on both the source and desk side, and I'll turn up the level of detail here so we can see interesting stuff. Now I've got kind of almost a 5-tuple, a 4-tuple. I didn't add protocol in here, although that's part of the source and desk dimension. So I've got a bunch of traffic that is sourced from UDP 8888 from these sources to these desks. If I mouse over any of these, I can see kind of the full perspective of relationships between the dimensions on that. This is just one example set of dimensions, you could also choose BGP dimensions, geolocation dimensions to see a breakout of origin ASN by city and country and that sort of thing, or 1,000 other combinations. This display can also live update. So I could turn this on to live update, say, every 30 seconds as I'm making a network change, and have visual verification that my change did not affect the traffic flows, or that it did affect the traffic flows in the way that I expected. Another kind of top-line use case for ad hoc queries is that I already have something in mind that I need to ask a question about. So maybe I've got an abuse complaint about a specific customer IP, and I need to see what it is doing on the network or what it did do on the network yesterday. So I can go right into the filters and add, say, a dest IP filter, and I'll pick sort of a well-known IP here, but this could be any IP inside or outside of your network. And now I can see right away how much traffic I send to that IP, how many sources it came from over time. I could break this down by who was sending it or what type of traffic it was, or any of the other dimensions as well. We mentioned some of the other data sets that we're correlating flow data with, and the way that we're adding on all of that data. So for every flow, we have the BGP attributes, the geo attributes, the SNMP interface names and descriptions, and those are all available here to group and filter by as well. So I could group traffic by destination country as an example, and see traffic over time per country, and then maybe I'm interested in the traffic going to France. I could drill down on that and show it by destination AS number, and not super surprisingly, it's going to a bunch of French ISPs and enterprises. I can go a level deeper to see the full AS path that we're using to reach all those remote destinations. So here's all of my traffic by path, still filtered on France. And I can add filters over the paths in the BGP data too. So maybe I only want to see the paths that crossed Cogent's network at some point. I could put in a path regex filter, and we'll AND that with the dest country.
Can you drill down on those paths at all?
I can, yeah.
You can drill down on them?
Yep.
Cool.
To see which dimension would you be interested in?
That's a great question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
So one dimension you might be interested in is to say, let's look at the dest path by dest prefix, right? So now I'm filtering on that one path and looking at the prefixes that were associated with it.
So I think the answer is yes.
It is, yes.
That's very cool. It's just, how do you want to do it? Yeah. Yeah.
How would you like your data diced and sliced?
That's right.
We try to be somewhere between not religious and not as flexible as Perl. So something in between.
Another use case here for kind of ad hoc queries over BGP data is maybe I've got a complaint that some destination has a reachability problem or an intermittent reachability problem. So I could filter on a specific dest and group it by dest path and see if there was some type of instability affecting the traffic going to that destination. So in this case, we've got the same path for all of the traffic we delivered over the last hour. But if there was instability, then I might see one or more additional rows here with the other paths that the traffic had flip-flopped among, and that'd be shown on the graph too. We'd have traffic on one path falling off to nothing, and then traffic on some other path picking up where that one left off. BGP community data in here too, so if you want to filter on traffic associated with routes that were tagged with some specific community, I could put in a community regex filter and say I just want to see the traffic that matches some particular community attribute.